I want to go back to year 34 when I was 31 and Harley was 34. And this is when we had our first child called John E. S. And we had just managed. So for a while there, it was just the earth was just sand and water. So that, and then the sand made the salt water because of the salt in the rocks, little rocks. They're all rocks at the beginning. That's just little rocks, but big at the same time. So it was very uncomfortable on our feet. And we didn't have much to do. We were very bored and we didn't really like each other that much, and we didn't know how to, we didn't know what words were, so we would just look at each other all funny and we'll just be like, okay. And it took a long time for things to develop. But we didn't have our first kids until lifetimes later, when things were a lot more set up and there was nature and creatures and stuff like that. I don't know what year this is from, but this is when there was grass and a field, but not many trees at all. I don't think any trees had formed at that time, but there were horses. And we weren't happy with each other because we didn't have anyone else, and we didn't really know who each other was or why we were there or what we were supposed to do. We just coexisted, and I had a horse and he had a horse, and they're both brown. Mine was the male and his was the female. So, and then he took my hand and he moved his fingers and was implying that we switch. And I smiled, and I got on the female horse and he got on the male horse. And that was the first time we had ever smiled. And he looked at me with some sparkle in his eye, and I'd never seen that from him before. And he smiled at me back, and the horses got ready, and he put his hand up and said, like a fist pump, and went boom, and we started racing. Really, and I was just a little bit ahead. Oh, and I went ahead. I was winning. And he got the horse up on its 2 feet and went, nay! And I was going fast, way faster than him. And I looked behind me, and he's going the other way. He's going left, and I'm going straight. He's going the other way. So I had to turn around and chase him. and he's ahead of me. And we saw these things on the ground. We didn't know what they were. And tiny little flowers, purple, sorry, violet, or yeah, violet and yellow. I raced up to him and I looked at him. I looked at the ground and I was like, huh? I'm like, just something new that formed. How cool is that? Was that year? What year was that? Maybe 50. This is back when we lived till we were like, 1,000. So we were still very youthful. And I had long brown hair. And he would use a shell to scrape my scalp. And he would, right before he went to sleep on the rocks, he would get some water from the ocean and he would put it on my forehead and rub it into my face and lick it dry. And I was wearing a white dress thing. I don't even know how he made it, but somehow. And we would bathe in the ocean. And he would rub me with sand. And he would lay me in the water, hold my back, and gently lay my head back while he would clean my hair. Not with sand, but with his gentle and caressing touch and precision. And something happened that never happened before. He put his mouth on my forehead, moved his mouth in a certain way. And it made me shut my eyes and breathe a bit heavier. And I turned my head to the right and he was on my left, and I noticed his mouth was going near my jawline and then down my neck, and I didn't know what was going on. But somehow I just got up and I put my arms around his neck and I started my legs around his waist, and he held me up while we were in the ocean and started moving me from side to side and swaying me, and he was holding me, and I felt something down below. I'd never known. Well, of course I had seen it before, but I'd never felt it before. On me. I didn't know what it was. It was either long and out or just hanging there. And it just felt so new. My body started convulsing. I just didn't know what was happening. I just couldn't stop. It was uncontrollable movements, and then something was inside of me. And I was like, we were rocking and rolling. And then he put me into the water, made sure, and held my back. It was pretty shallow water. And I was kind of like floating, but like he was holding my butt and my thighs. And then it lasted like 4 minutes, and I screamed, and he went, "Ah!" as well. And that's when we first discovered that we could talk. Well, not talk yet, but we had a voice box. Yeah.